matchup tonight. The Orange saying hello to their home away from home in Westchester, New York. Coach Q and the 18th ranked Syracuse Orange. Gary Blair and the 20th ranked Texas A&M Aggies. Well, a good evening, one and all, and welcome to the Westchester County Center. Brian Higgins, Kim Adams, and Kim, what a matchup tonight, Syracuse and A&M, and it's the Orange experience versus the Aggies newcomers tonight.
Yeah, Syracuse still relatively young, but all 5 starters started all 31 games together last year, so they've got some great experience and chemistry. But as for A&M, outside of Kennedy Carter, they are basically starting from scratch. They lost their next 4 leading scorers to graduation or transfers.
The point guard matchup is phenomenal tonight. Tiana Mungakahi was unbelievable in her first season in Orange last year.
She comes from Australia, no problem translating that game. Led the nation in assists with just under 10. Also led Syracuse in scoring with over 17 points per game, Brian.
Aussie versus Texas. The hometown girl, Kennedy Carter, staying in state, and she was wild last year scoring the ball as a freshman.
She is the reigning National Freshman of the Year, back in a big way for her sophomore campaign. A prolific scorer, over 22 points per game, 30-point games 7 times last year.
Including in the NCAA tournament. And you said it, Kim, it's a new group around her this year. It's 4 new names, and Sierra Johnson, talented, but new to the lineup this year.
She's coming off of her first career double-double, so Coach Blair is excited about her, thinks there's a lot of room for growth.
Miranda Drummond struggled shooting last time out against Oregon, looking for a bounce back tonight. And we are ready to go here at the Westchester County Center. An all-star officiating crew. Dee Kantner's got the ball in her arms, veteran of basically every Final Four. She'll put it in the air, and we will play tonight with 2 top 20 teams. And fittingly, we'll see Kennedy Carter get the first touch tonight.
Right away, you see Syracuse opening up in a zone. They are known for their zone defense.
Early touch for Sierra Johnson. Can't finish, and here's Drummond pushing. Mungakahi. Now Stroutwina, no threes as of yet for Syracuse, which 20 seconds into the game is actually a bit of a surprise.
Another thing they're known for, shooting threes, pushing the floor. Drummond couldn't get that one to fall.
Mungakahi dishing for Finkley and a turnover. We kind of saw it there with Drummond as Tiana an early turnover. The NBA three-point line's on the court tonight, and she was way out there. Coach Q, dapper as always in his 13th year in charge of the Orange. Scoreless opening minute. Kennedy Carter yet to put one up. She'll do so many times tonight, we figure. Force attack to the rim, no good. We expect a high pace to this one. Cooper for Finkley. Another offensive rebound early. And now Stroutwina banks it home. Early offensive rebounds for the Orange, Kim, and that's something that maybe Coach Blair didn't think would be a big issue today.
Right, Texas A&M looks, if you look at the court, they look like they have the size advantage, but you have to be disciplined with boxing out and getting bodies on people.
Here's Carter again. She'll let fly anytime, anywhere. We are tied at 3.
Kennedy Carter, very confident. She'll pull up from anywhere on the floor, knocks that one down. On her birthday, by the way, Brian.
Happy 20 to Kennedy. I think she's got designs of scoring more points than her age here tonight. Averaged more than that last year. Here's Cooper. Mungakahi. Finkley again. Third crack inside, still a no-go. And a travel on the rebounding act against Drummond.
Right now, Syracuse doing a good job of distributing, but they're just having trouble converting on some easy layups.
Early stages, this feels more like a Coach Q style than an Aggie style.
You gotta love that style. I mean, all black tonight, black glasses. He must have a few pairs. I haven't seen that one yet.
A few is shorting it, I think. And another bucket by Carter. So Carter 5 and Syracuse 3, and now the point guard's trying to go bucket for bucket. Carter again. Wilson. And cans the mid-range.
Carter puts so much pressure on the defense because she can get into the paint at any time and force that defense to have to rotate and react.
That's one where you always have to be worried about her shot. Gabby Cooper not afraid to let fly from 3. Instead, Mungakahi will again start the Orange offense. The Aussie attacking and finishing.
Impressive drive. Wilson had the size advantage on her, but she's so crafty, able to protect the ball and get it up over the hands.
I'd say we're getting what we paid for early on with this point guard matchup tonight, as Mungakahia and Kennedy Carter have initiated darn near all the offense so far.
Coach Blair said it to us today. He thinks these are two of the top 5 in the entire nation.
Wilson can't connect. Here's Cooper. There's a similar matchup for Mungakahia on Saturday at Oregon when Sabrine Ionescu was her counterpart.
That was a tough loss for Syracuse. We'll get into more of that today, but that is a beautiful cut across the lane from Drummond. Finally got one of those layups to fall.
Great feed from Stratman. Tied at 7 early stages here in Westchester, Syracuse and Texas A&M. Carter again. She can get wherever she wants on the floor. It does not fall. Mungakahia now. Pace of the game high early. Mungakahia. Nifty feed. Binkley this time finishes.
Just a simple change of speed, change of direction by Mungakahia to get the defense off their feet and draw that open look on the opposite block.
Kennedy Carter's already played her way out of her ponytail on the drive. And a traveling violation on the Aggies and Wilson. Head coach Gary Blair, 16 years in at A&M and one of the very few out there. 8 active coaches have a national title. You can see the ring. It sparkles here in the Westchester County Center. 2001, the Aggies picked up that national title, knocking off Notre Dame, coming from 9 down in the second half. Mungakahia, now Stratman. A 3 won't go, dies on the iron. Lakiera Lewis fresh off the bench. The Ohio State transfer grabs it. Pass errant and stolen. Carter again. It feels like every time Carter has the ball, something is about to happen.
Right, but Syracuse so far doing a great job of stopping her in transition. That's the first thing you have to do is stop the ball.
Inside, and Dia Jones denied. Now Mungakahia. Similar situation with the orange point guard, and she connects.
You can't leave her open, Brian. Just a lapse on defense there. No one picked her up wide open at the free throw line. She's going to knock that down 9 times out of 10.
It's Texas A&M at the hot 7-2 start, 9 straight now for the Orange. We've yet to really see the Orange standard full court pressure. Something to keep an eye out throughout the night.
Right now they're so active in the zone, though. Everyone's got hands up, communicating.
Pass to Wells, finds Carter. Late shot clock. Kennedy. And a violation prior to what potentially could have been a foul. What a start here tonight in Westchester. We told you about the 2-point guards. It's shaping up that way. Kennedy Carter for the Aggies. Tiana Mungakahia for the Orange. Hot start in Westchester tonight. The Syracuse Orange up early over the 20th ranked Aggies here at the Westchester County Center. An oldie but goodie opening, opened back in the 30s. Home of the Westchester Knicks in the D-League. Home of the New York Liberty in the WNBA. Lots of other sports and events here. They're the Liberty. Tina Charles and crew played their last season here. And Kim Adams. We found you in high school, Kim.
This was one of my favorite venues to play in. We always played our high school championships here. Won 3 of those at White Plains High School. So very good memories for me in this building, Brian.
Yeah, all the local high school sectional championships you usually played here, and for many years looked packed to watch you play back in the day.
Yeah, we got some good crowds. There would always be a good men's and women's doubleheader.
Orange with possession after the timeout. Syracuse first subs. They've changed 4. They're 5 on the floor at the moment. Kara Lewis, Isis Young, Maeva Jaldi Tabdi, and Kajitu Sissoko have all checked into the game. Going to inbound for the Orange.
I'd like to see Syracuse keep working it inside out. Make sure they're not just going around the perimeter.
Here's Jaldi Tabdi, spinning and finishing.
And that is exactly why the first-year player out of France, a big body down there, strong with great footwork.
Already can see now in her third collegiate game, the decisiveness starting to grow. And the orange run is stretched to 11-zip. Carter ends it. She ends a lot of runs.
Texas A&M, they haven't shot the ball too well from 3 in their first 2 games, just about 28%. But Carter, coach said, has the green light whenever she wants.
When all else breaks down, she is the answer to the question. Stroutman up. Airmail's out of bounds. Always interesting, Kim, you know, shooting in a new place that you haven't really been in before, trying to figure out the backdrops.
Right. This is an interesting venue as well because you got the stage on one end, so both sides of the floor are very different.
Aggies can tie it up this time down with another Carter 3. Instead it's Sierra Johnson inside. Denied by Jaldi Tabdi, and Emily Enxler was just checked in. Now Kiara Lewis. Orange have 5 subs on the floor right now, and Enxler spotted for travel.
Enxler just a little bit out of control, the highly touted freshman. She just kind of went into 2 defenders there instead of making a better decision with the ball.
Short journey for Emily, home to here, grew up in New York City. McDonald's All-American. Kayla Wells returning for the Aggies. Now we see Chambria Washington checking in, and we now for the first time may see Kennedy Carter playing off the ball. Both teams hitting the bench really for the first time of the night.
Brian, you mentioned it earlier, Syracuse is known for full court pressure, but we haven't seen that yet. So we'll see when he chooses to put that in to get a little more energy out.
How much do you think that's because of Carter? Inside, Martin finishes and 1.
Just a great job driving, shifting the defense, and that's what Coach Blair stressed to his team today. When you play against a zone, we'll take another look at this drive from Wells. 2 defenders come to her, great decision. But when you're facing a zone, you can sometimes have a tendency to get very passive and just start chucking up threes. He said they need to be attacking the paint, whether it's off the pass, off the dribble. They need to be getting players into foul trouble like we just saw there.
That foul on the freshman, Emily Enxler, did foul out of the Oregon game, her second collegiate game on the road Saturday. Here's Sissoko, blocked by Washington. Now Carter pushing pace, and the Aggies can retake the lead. Point guard on point guard here. Carter, step back, offline. Now Mungakahi, it's going to be these 2 all night. Tiana. Bit of confusion, and remains Syracuse ball.
Yeah, Brian, I think these 2 do a fair amount of cardio in the offseason with the tempo they play with. They are nonstop up and down.
So they do a fair amount in game, getting up and down. Jaldi Tabdi. And steps.
And that time on the catch, 2 defenders came at her. So that's not the place where you want to put the ball on the floor. That's where you want to kick it out and maybe relocate or pass it around to the other side of the perimeter and get a better look inside.
Interesting to watch here with Chambria Washington in here to see Carter off the ball, how a little different this Aggie offense may operate. They're not off the ball for long. Aaliyah Wilson, an open 3. And a run out from Mungakahi. Jaldi Tabdi. Altered by Washington.
Again, that's about 3 or 4 layups now that Syracuse has been unable to convert.
That's looked like some easy buckets in transition, and in the end, have not gone in as the Aggies have gotten back on defense. Here's Wilson. Connects in the mid-range, the transfer out of Arkansas.
It's a beautiful pull-up game there, stays nice and low, elevates straight up with a soft touch on the jumper.
So Coach Blair told us she can shoot the 3 well, an offensive foul on the orange, but he'd prefer the mid-range game out of Wilson more than not.
Absolutely, not all players have that down, but she is just so skilled. And like you said, he doesn't want this team to fall in love with the 3, especially against his zone. He wants to see them creating, and he really enjoys the mid-range game, and Wilson has it.
The previous orange foul was on Jaldi Tabdi, her first. These mini runs continue. The Aggies At the 7-2 lead, then the Orange 11 straight, now 7 consecutive Texas A&M points to retake the lead. Late stages here in the opening quarter. Kayla Wells, pickpocketed by Mungakahia. Takes it herself. And again, the fast break can't convert. How about Carter? She'll finish.
Syracuse has to get back. They had one white jersey back. Everyone's got to run back against Carter.
10 points already for Carter. A Drummond three, it's down. She struggled on Saturday, but Drummond hits her first.
That's right, Brian, just 1 for 8 against Oregon, but last year, 40%. So to see her get going is a great sign for Coach Q's team.
Led the Orange last year in that category from the outside. In percentage anyways, her and Cooper dominated the volume.
You see A&M putting somebody right in the middle of this zone. That's where you want to attack it from, because now the defense has to make decisions.
You see the slight difference there between the game and shot clock. See if they can de facto hold for the final look. Instead, Wilson forces. Martin cannot beat the shot clock. You're going to have to put a little time back, you'd think. We'll see.
Right. Mungakahia and Coach Q are petitioning for that.
The officials are discussing it.
It looked like there were still a few ticks
No,
when they blew the whistle.
If there was a shot clock violation, there should be about a second and a half left here, give or take. It appears that T. Kantner, our lead official, is headed over to the table for a peek, so the quarter probably has a little bit left in it. So we got an official review here with D. Kantner over at the table. Looking forward to Teresa Witherspoon joining us at the beginning of the second quarter. Among many, many stops, the New York Liberty legend and former Gary Blair recruit. So I think, Kim, the Orange should have, a second and a half. We'll see if that matters.
Right, and Mungakahia, the speed she can get up before that's an important second.
You're right. She did specialize in the buzzer beater at the end of quarters last year. And again, the discussion between the veteran D. Kantner and our scorers table continues.
And this is an interesting thing in the Syracuse huddle. Are you talking about what are we going to run if we get this time, or are you talking about the next quarter?
And apparently that's the end of the quarter. All right, a quarter dominated by the star Kennedy Carter. 10 points already for the All-American. We're even through 10 minutes in Westchester. Back here in Westchester, we are tied at the end of one between the ranked Syracuse and Texas A&M teams. Brian Higgins, Kim Adams, and in the middle, Teresa Witherspoon. T-Spoon with us here, and Teresa, how about this? We're in the land of the New York Liberty, not the arena you played in, but pretty cool to get some big-time basketball.
I guess I must say welcome.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yeah, you
to
can
the
welcome
area.
us here, right?
Welcome to the area. This is a wonderful place to be, and I'm so thankful that you guys allowed me to come on.
What a host you are to have us here tonight. This is great, and we know you had a great career as a point guard. What are you seeing with this wonderful point guard matchup tonight?
I'm telling you, these some exciting young people. They really have the game in great hands. It's been a joy to be able to watch them play. I've had an opportunity to watch them play quite a bit, but to be live is always great.
We were talking to your old assistant coach back in your college days, Gary Blair. You played for him at Louisiana Tech. I think we sat down mid-conversation. He was already saying nice things about you, so we couldn't get him to stop. He was just complimentary up and down.
That's a great thing. He's a great man. You know, he found me in the place where I was, a little village. He found me at 17, 18 years old and really gave me an opportunity to play at Louisiana Tech. He was an awesome recruiter. The things that he said, he truly believed in, and I believed in as well.
There's one of those point guards, Mungakahia, hitting from deep.
And Teresa, Coach Blair told us that you are actually the favorite leader that he ever coached. And obviously he's been coaching a while. What do you think you brought in that sense, whether it was on the court or in the locker room?
I just sacrificed. I learned a lot from the coaching staff. I knew exactly what they expected of me. And then I just wanted to bring that to the court with the ladies for them to be the best them. If you can always get people to follow you, play for you, play with you, and enjoy doing it and making them the best themselves. That's all I wanted to do, is for everybody to be great at what they do.
Starting into a three-point shootout. Carter just hit another. She's got 13, and then Cooper dropped on top of it. You mentioned these point guards. Coach Blair said it. I think many agree. These are two of the best, probably 5 in the country, and that may be too many to put them in a group with.
I don't think that's untrue. I think that's very true. What they bring offensively and defensively, the pace of the game, the way they shoot the ball, the way they defend, it's exciting.
Coach Blair, one of the legendary coaches in the women's game now, what do you remember about what lessons he instilled upon you that you brought on all through your career?
The importance of work, the importance of believing in yourself and having some goals behind what you're doing. And every day you walk into the gym, it's about walking in to master something, not just to be in there. It's a difference in playing the game and understanding the game.
And overall, as a landscape of women's basketball, Coach Blair talked about now how it's more spread out. The top recruits are going to different schools. Just what do you think about the state of the women's college game today?
You know, that is so good where it's so spread now. You can't just take a look and say, well, this team is going to win it all. It's so good for the game of women's basketball that is so parallel across the board. And when you have that, it's just tremendously exciting on every game. Everybody's excited to watch the game.
Finished by Finkley as the Orange up by 5. And Teresa, you're as well suited as anyone to speak to women's basketball in the New York City area and where it's at right now. What are you feeling in that 5 right now?
It's a great place to play the game of basketball, the excitement, the history of it all, being a part of the history of basketball here in New York City. And not just basketball, there's just so much history here in New York to be a part of, especially having an opportunity to play in Madison Square Garden. It's just the greatest thing, and then to be known playing the game is absolutely a great thing, especially in New York City.
Kaylin Martin connecting there for the Aggies. This is pretty good stuff we got going here right now.
Hey, this is exciting basketball. You love to see stuff like this, young people shooting the gaps, reading defensively, and then going up the floor to finish. You love to see this kind of basketball, and then the communication. That's what I like to hear. The game should never be silent.
That was Aaliyah Wilson with a layup as we are flying up and down here.
I don't think we've had a whistle since Teresa sat down.
No,
we need
we
her
sat
here
down.
more often.
And
We're moving.
this game sped up.
When there's no whistle, you tend to get a little tired there.
They knew the queen came to the table.
There is Mungakaya. She's got 9. Carter's got 13. And these 2 point guards continue to throw haymakers.
It's not going to stop. This is going to continue the entire game.
And Teresa, you obviously had a prolific career with the Liberty and still involved with the organization. What do these females need to develop more as they look to take their game to the next level?
You know, in this game, it's all about developing every aspect of the game. You can't limit yourself. You can't put yourself in a box. It's almost about being positionless, not telling yourself, this is my position, this is what I do. It's all about not seeing a box, not thinking outside the box. There is no box. So you can't place any limitations on yourself. In the moment you step in that cage with those Lions, you got to have a tremendous amount of confidence and belief in yourself. And if you don't, trust me, the confidence will be taken from you. But these young people here, they're being coached. They're learning the game. And when you are coached and you understand the game, the nuances of it, the angles of the game, you step into the next level, you're ready.
Do you know, talking about being coached with Coach Blair, he was just an assistant back then when he recruited you. Now, 30-some-odd years ago. Did you see this career coming for Coach Blair at the time?
Absolutely, absolutely. He did a lot of coaching as well. You know, he would stand and say what he had to say, and in practice he would say what he had to say, and he stood on his word. And when he got the opportunity, we knew what he was going to do because he's all about the greatness of his players and how can he get them there. He would always say it's not all about what you know, it's about what you bring.
Orange bringing a turnover there, pushing pace with the lead. One of our star point guards, Mungakahia, a breather. So Kiara Lewis, the former top recruit, will take her place. Shaldi Tabdi, an extra step. It's got to be fun for you to see a game like this with the pace. This is pure basketball.
I tell you, it makes you want to play again.
You got a few possessions left in you?
I got a few possessions. You know, I got a few possessions down one and get back on defense. If I get a steal, kick it, then I just ask for, hey, get me out. Let me go again the next 10 minutes.
I see you have some sneakers on, some flashy red ones.
Ah, that's how you
don't play me. I think we can sub you in.
I made sure these were not tight, so I don't have to get out there. This game is in great hands. We got ankle braces.
They're in great hands.
Washington ties it up. Another 3 falls as these teams have been gunning away here in the opening half. Speaking of the point guards, we talked to 2 stars. Kiara Lewis, none too shabby herself, a former top 25 recruit at Ohio State. Shaldi Tabdi connects.
Teresa, just to get a little analyst opinion from you here, Syracuse has been in this zone the whole half so far. What does a team need to do well to attack a zone
And
offensively?
you just said it the best. You got to know who to attack when the ball comes to the top. You want to try to draw the opposite side in order to get someone open as that ball swings. You got to be able to know exactly who you are attacking, especially when you have a kind of like a funky zone, freak zone like Syracuse kind of plays at you. Know who you're attacking and who you're trying to get open.
Carol Lewis just attacked Kennedy Carter and scores. And what a first half of this has been. These two teams came out going 100 miles an hour from the start. And it's been a treat to watch so far in the opening quarter here.
And that was a beautiful attack from the high post. Low post seals the defender, just an easy 2.
Lewis again. Now Jaldi Tabdi. Well, the Orange, the 2-point lead, latter stages, second quarter. Teresa Witherspoon, our guest, the New York Liberty legend. Kennedy Carter, a phenomenal finish.
Wow. Teresa Witherspoon, visions right there. The body control.
I was just about to say, especially when you're talking about attacking the zone, I was just about to say it's so important that you attack that middle man. You can attack that middle man. You can almost get anything that you want. And then Carter goes in, attacks the middle man, and she finished right over top. She's an amazing talent.
She attacked the middle. She attacked the back end. She attacked every possible spot of the defense. And Johnson whistled for a travel. Teresa, thanks so much for a few minutes.
Thank you all so much for having me, and best luck.
Teresa Witherspoon joining us here in Westchester, 30-30. A rollicking first half between the Orange and the Aggies. The point guards getting it done both ways. Tie game here in Westchester as the Orange and Texas A&M 30 apiece. And Kim, Tiana Mungakahi has been outstanding so far tonight.
As good as advertised. She can hurt you anywhere on the floor. We see a drive that time. This time just so shifty. Finds the open man, and she could shoot it from deep too. As we see here, she's already got 13, Brian, on 4 of 7 shooting.
Well, Tiana lighting it up. Kennedy Carter on the other side. And we told you about these two. I think they were aware of what was going on tonight because they have gone back and forth all night long as Carter already has 15.
And they're two players that are just so competitive. They don't need anything extra to get up for the night. They're going to bring it 100% every night.
So tie game. It's been tight the whole way. Traveling violation on the Orange and Enxler.
And that's a few turnovers now on Enxler, just being in a little bit of a rush, and she's still adjusting to the college game. You just have to take that extra half a second to collect yourself before you make that move.
It's easy to forget, isn't it, with the accolades, McDonald's All-American, top recruit in program history, could go on, that this is her 3rd collegiate game. Lewis the steal. Looking for Stroutwina, but retake it away. Wells now finishes. Kayla Wells.
Great job by Wells. You see she's got height. She's 5'11", 6 feet, but can just sprint up the floor. That time beat all of the other Syracuse defenders up the floor for the layup.
50 pass by Stroutwina. Enxler settled that time, but could not finish.
Absolutely. That time she collected herself, a little pump fake, but just wasn't fully squared up to the basket.
Orange continue to sub liberally as Cooper and Sissoko return. That is Coach Q staple that if there is a whistle, likely someone new is about to enter the ballgame.
Syracuse goes through a lot of rotations, and he said that is purposeful because of how much they run. They can't have people playing 35 minutes a night.
This subbing will settle down probably in the 4th quarter a little bit. Wilson defended well by Jaldi Tabdi. Offensive glass. Wells at a foul.
Wells is a player that Coach Blair has said have been so pleasantly surprised by. We'll take another look at this monster rebound. Just sneaks in there. No one gets a body on her. But outside of Carter, she was really their only returner that had played at all last season. But again, just had played about 10 minutes a game. So she's a player that they're looking to really elevate her game.
Less than 3 points a game last year. Free throw is good. That foul was the 2nd on Enxler, so she exits, and Stroutwina returns for the Orange. And that was the question we talked about pregame. 4 starters lost, 2 to transfer, 2 to graduation. Somebody that didn't play a lot last year was going to have to do something, and Kayla Wells is one of them.
Right, and he mentioned Aaliyah Wilson, who was sat out last season, transferred from Arkansas, one of those McDonald's All-Americans. He said they know how good she can be, but Johnson and Wells are 2 people who he has his eyes on as emerging stars this season.
Here's Munga Kahia, 9 points already, looking for an assist. NBA 3, offline for Gabby. A lot of lines on this floor. You can be tempted to put your toes behind the back one.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they should implement a 4-point shot in this scenario. We got the NBA line out there.
Why not? You see the blue line, as they dribble up, is the NBA line. The orange line in the middle, the college line. And the white line, the high school line. Not seeing the WNBA line, which could really confuse things by sticking another one in there.
Right, it would be an optical illusion out there.
Where do I go? It is the orange 3-point line we look at tonight. Washington travels. The orange little sticker line that's been tossed out there tonight. See the Knicks logo for the Westchester Knicks, since the NBA line for the G League. The team's been here about 5 years now.
All right, and they've had some success. Trey Burke on the team last year, now with the New York Knicks.
Going to Kahia. Now Sissoko. And the French freshman finishes.
And she's got great size, speed, and athleticism, and great job of corralling that ball in for an easy lay-in.
Kennedy Carter, 15 of the Aggies' 33. Can't finish that tough one.
That's great team defense by Syracuse. She got in the lane, but was met by a few help defenders that really suffocated her.
Kahia, Stroutmaner, Sissoko. Got her own. And finishes.
Woo! Little Euro step for the Parisian. Bringing that flair. Nice step through.
Do they call it a Euro step when you're from Europe? Is it just your own thing at that point?
I don't know.
I think to ask her at some point.
I mean, we have plenty of options to ask on the Syracuse team.
Kennedy Carter, and again, we got a few second differential here game in shot clock. Can't completely hold for the last look. Wells drives and finishes. Kayla Wells. Last look, Munga Kahia, half-court heave. And we go to halftime in a 1-point game in Westchester. Tiana Munga Kahia has led the way for Syracuse. Kennedy Carter, the All-American, has starred for the Aggies. The point guard matchup outstanding. A 1-point game at the break. Halftime at the Westchester County Center. 1-point game with these 2 top 20 teams. The Aggies leading by 1 at the break. Brian Higgins with you at the beginning of our Cuse in the City week. We're just outside New York City right now in Westchester and White Plains for this big women's basketball matchup tonight. Syracuse at Texas A&M, and it's leading us into a tasty weekend that tomorrow goes into Madison Square Garden for men's basketball, and it doesn't get much more interesting, does it, in men's basketball than Syracuse and Connecticut at MSG. Can't guarantee us 6 overtimes, but Cuse and UConn tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in the Garden. Iowa and Oregon will follow. The winners play on Friday. The losers likewise play on Friday. So all of that coming up in MSG this week. And for the Orange, O'Shea Brissett is excited to get to the city.
It's amazing. The atmosphere is just second to none. Just the fact that so much things have gone down in that building, and the fact that I get to be on that court is, overwhelming in itself. But being there, with our coach and my team, it's a feeling that you can never forget.
So O'Shea and the Orange taking on Connecticut tomorrow night. Then they'll play again on Friday. The football team heads to New York City. They travel Friday. Will play on Saturday. 1 borough over, heading to the Bronx. Syracuse will be playing Notre Dame at Yankee Stadium on Saturday. The Orange and the Irish in a big matchup this week. And Dino Baber says New York City, anywhere kind of but a parking lot. These 2 teams will play each other.
You know, if you get two really good teams that are motivated, they'll really play anywhere. So as long as it's not concrete and it's grass, yeah, I'm okay. I think the team will be all right. We're gonna act like good Marines, and we'll just adjust and improvise.
Well, always interesting when football is played in the baseball stadium. We trust there will be grass and non-concrete on Saturday. We see the top 10. Not much changed in the college football rankings this week. The Orange moved up a spot from 13 to 12. Notre Dame hanging strong at 3. That is a 2:30 kickoff on Saturday, Syracuse and Notre Dame. So looking forward to this big Cuse in the City weekend. Our kickoff tonight in Westchester. 20th ranked Texas A&M leads the 18th ranked Orange by 1 at halftime. Otto and the kids dancing away here in Westchester. The Aggies by 1 at halftime. Brian Higgins, Kim Adams with you at the half. And Kim, great first half. And it was the point guards. We told you it was the point guards, and it was. And let's see the highlights here. It starts with Kennedy Carter, who was unbelievable in this half as she got out of the gate hot.
Yeah, this is living up to that top 20 matchup. Carter stroking it from downtown, can also shift that defense. Beautiful drive and finish. Just can hurt you in so many ways. That time opts to step back again, nothing but net.
Toe on the NBA line. We'll give her 3 in college. And then Tiana Mungakahia is outstanding, dishing and scoring.
Her patience with the basketball and her decision making is what sets her apart. And hey, she can shoot it as well. These two girls are going back and forth from the 3-point line.
The Orange got a little work going on inside as well with Jaldi Tobney. But the Orange have a backup point guard now. Kara Lewis has some moves.
And this was just a great drive. She's not too tall, but the speed and ability to control her body on that finish.
The numbers mostly even at halftime, which makes sense in a game that is just separated by 1. But the rebounding numbers stand out maybe a different way than the Aggies were expecting.
Right, both teams shooting the ball well, but you look at that +8 on the boards for Syracuse. They have 8 offensive rebounds, which has led them to 10 second chance points. So the Aggies are going to have to lock down on the boards in this second half if they want to come away with a win.
The stats say the game's close. Tiana Mungakahia's play is keeping the game close. 1-point game, 2 ranked teams. We close on the second half in Westchester. Approaching the start of the third quarter here in Westchester. The Aggies by 1 at the half. Brian Higgins, Kim Adams, and Kennedy Carter. 15 points today, but Kim, if nobody knew who she was yet by the postseason last year, and how could you? She was the National Freshman of the Year. In the second round against DePaul, in a game they were down big, everyone knew about her by the end.
Kennedy Carter just took this game over a 3, a drive, but here comes the big one here, Brian. They were down 2. She says, I'm going for the win. Forget overtime. I've had enough. What a move, but the celebration, I think, was even better.
Outstanding celebration. It was the shot of the tournament until Enrique Ngumbawali stole the Final Four. But look at these numbers. You talk about scoring in the tournament. 30 a game. She was a freshman.
Just unbelievable, the confidence. We saw her step into that shot for the win as a freshman. To do that, just absolutely incredible numbers already. You can only begin to imagine what those numbers are going to look like after another year, after 4 years.
That was a list she was sharing with one of the all-time greats in Cheryl Swoops and Kelsey Plum, the all-time leading scorer in NCAA women's basketball history. So that's pretty good company for somebody just now 3 games into her sophomore season.
And we talked to Coach Blair because, as we've mentioned earlier, this is a brand new group that she has on the floor with her now. And Coach really highlighted 2 areas where she's different this season. One, he said the biggest transformation is she's a better teammate, she's a better student athlete, and second, she's a better defender. He said last year she was playing Olay defense, as in a bull running by and just waving that red flag. So she's made big strides in her game to lock down and play both ends of the floor.
And he really emphasized the O part of that, too.
He got into that. We had a great time talking with him this morning. Just an incredible basketball mind and really a legend in women's hoops.
Early turnover by the Aggies. Somehow Gary Blair can sit down with you mid-story that you didn't know you were in the middle of, and then off he goes. And quite a charmer, and he's got the bling for the 2011 NCAA championship. 1-point game early second half, and this point guard matchup now belongs to Mungakahia. Foul on her counterpart, Carter.
How fun is this matchup? Both guards are just so shifty with the ball. Nothing too crazy, just changing their speed, changing their direction, and that's really all you need to get by a defender.
Shaldi Tabdi and now Strautmane. It feels whichever one plays better in the second half, that will decide who wins this game. And it's Mungakahia early, clapping her hands as she drills the three for the lead.
That is just her second three of the game, but she's so versatile, she doesn't need to rely on that outside shot.
Already 8 lead changes tonight, and we have just begun the second half. Wells. Mungakahia the defense, but Wells retreats. India Jones, stopped by Shaldi Tabdi. Mungakahia. Blocks nicely by Shambria Washington. See, Mungakahia wanted free throws.
And that time she was going 1-on-4, but it still was a good take, especially considering they get the ball back right now. She's just aggressive. You got to let her take the numbers sometimes like that.
Well, these 2 point guards 1-on-4 is sometimes the one's advantage. It doesn't work out for most.
What I'd like to see is a full court or a half court 1-on-1 competition between those two. Maybe we could do that after the game.
We'll see. We'll see if they got any energy left after this one. Shaldi Tabdi and one.
Shaldi Tabdi is just so good at getting position in the post. You see her numbers, you get it right to her, and she just has that simple inside pivot and is able to kind of hook that ball up over the top of the defender. Very skilled in just basic post footwork, which a lot of players struggle with in this day and age.
She was a top 30 recruit prior to last year, out of France, out of Paris. Comes over, has some early eligibility issues, is off the case with those trying to get the credits and everything to transfer from Europe. And here she is. This was a player Q really wanted last year. Now he's got her starting as a freshman this year.
And you watch her play, you don't think this is her first season, her third game. She looks extremely comfortable and confident out there.
Some decisive post moves, but the free throw goes wanting. The Orange a 4-point lead. Nobody's led by more than 6 as of yet. And now a jump ball will point in Syracuse's way.
That was a great job by Kennedy Carter attacking the teeth of that zone, getting inside of it. Jones wasn't able to convert. You have to convert that easy look because you're not always going to get something that simple against this tightly packed in zone.
Again, we still have not seen the press tonight, which is a bit surprising. Cooper. And a big 3 in the first half. Drummond did as well and has one to start the second. The Orange have the largest lead of the night.
She doesn't need a lot of time. She doesn't need a lot of space. That was just a spot-up shot, release right away, straight money.
Kennedy Carter attacking one on everyone, turns it over. Drummond, Mungakahia. Layup good and give her one more.
And this is the Orange team at their best. They weren't getting out too much in the break, but here they go. They got some energy up. Mungakahia, one hand with the contact, high up off that window.
It's a 10-0 Orange run in 2 minutes and 1 second to start the second half. Timeout Aggies. Cuse rolling in Westchester. .10 run has started the second half for Syracuse. A timeout by the Aggies as the Orange up 9. We've told you all about Cuse in the city. Some big action on the home front on Sunday. NCAA tournament starting. The men's soccer team back in after missing last year. They've earned the 16 seed and a first round bye. Henrik Hilpert will be manning the goal against either Akron or Ryder at the SU Soccer Stadium. Game time 2 o'clock. And the first 300 Syracuse students with their ID will receive free admission courtesy of the Syracuse men's soccer team. The head coach Ian McIntyre, so looking forward to that on Sunday. Mungakahia's free throw, Kim, makes it an 11-0 run. This has been a 2-minute stunning run here for Syracuse.
And Brian, this is a really important moment of the game for Texas A&M. We talked about their youth and inexperience. Kennedy Carter really the only one playing significant minutes last season. So who is going to step up as a leader here, start making some stops, get the energy back up, and get the Aggies back into it?
Texas A&M has not scored yet this half. And still not. Rebound, Cooper. Mungakahia has been playing at a different pace than most tonight. Drummond tied up. Appears to be a shooting foul.
And one of the things I'm most impressed with about Mungakahia, just her patience. She dribbles, she gets you off speed. She doesn't look to rush into that next pass. She lets the play develop, like we saw Drummond, who's very good with her cuts and gets the ball and draws the foul.
Foul was rather on the floor. Allows Jaldi Tomney to go to work. Now Mungakahia. Putback is good and the run continues. It is 13-0 Syracuse to start the half.
And she does it all for them. Scoring, assists, rebounding. Second on the team in rebounding.
And another turnover. A shocking start to this half after how close the first half was. Mungakahia. Strautmana. Young. Long three. Rebounding foul on Strautmana.
Right now, A&M just not locked in enough on the defensive end. They seemed a little bit lost. You have to get back to communicating, especially with a team like Syracuse who does so well at driving, moving the defense. They need to pick up their communication and have better rotations.
We'll see if Kennedy Carter's another huge second half comeback hitter. Syracuse up 12. Looking for their first win over a ranked team this season. Just took number 3 Oregon to the wire out in Eugene on Saturday. Hand check this time against Mungakahia. Second foul on Syracuse's point guard, so that's been called each way this half.
And again, Coach Blair stressing to his team today not to settle for threes against this zone. And this is where it's going to be really important that they attack and get some easier looks when things aren't going their way.
Wells, she showed up a little bit tonight. Now Kennedy Carter contested 3. That's a tough shot. Wilson the offensive rebound and the putback.
And that's what you need when you're going against a run like this. Garbage points, free throws, get to the line, get some O boards.
Strautmana will stay with the orange. And that's what they didn't have in the first half. It was Syracuse, we talked about it, that dominated those second chance points early on.
Right, and Texas A&M, their first 2 games got off to great starts. Syracuse, slow starts. So both teams played evenly matched in that first half, but it was Coach Blair's hope that they would get off to a rip-roaring start, and that didn't happen against this Syracuse team tonight.
And the orange this season, and have so often got off to a fast start after halftime. Did so Saturday against Oregon, and then also in the season opener against North Dakota. Strautmana travels. But a 10-point lead here. This game was played within 6 the entirety of the first half, so this kind of changes the thought process both ways right now.
And here we go, Brian. They're starting to go on this run, and for the first time, here comes that full court pressure from Syracuse with a 10-point cushion.
They're right here, the first time we've seen it tonight. Usually it is from the opening tip. Tonight it took nearly 25 minutes. Carter, broken easily, and fouled hard on the way up.
Carter is essentially a one-woman press break with her handles. Just gets right through 3 defenders right there. Got some air on that layup.
Well, you'd figure that would be the reason you wouldn't want to press the Aggies, because of her.
Right. I think now that they have that little cushion, they're going to take a risk, but if she continues to just dribble through it, they're going to have to pull it back off again. So we'll see how they can contain them, maybe force some turnovers. They like to trap.
You think maybe a worth it risk, though, in that it could potentially get in the game right now if the run continues.
Yeah, this is where Texas A&M really needs to stop the bleeding here, because at the pace that Syracuse can get up and down the floor, you can blink and they'll be down 20.
Aggies just 2 points in the opening 4.5 minutes after halftime. Carter 1 out of 2, 16 points now for the star sophomore, and the orange throw it away. Exler and Lewis not on the same page.
Texas A&M for the first time. They say, you put the press on, we're going to put it on too. And they have so many athletic guards and they're long. I think this is a good call for the Aggies.
With Mungakahi on the bench right now. Sierra Johnson and one.
That was a beautiful, fundamentally sound play by the low post player. Catches it at the free throw line. Step by. It's right by Jaldi Tabdi. And she has the skill at that size to put it on the deck.
McDonald's All-American in her own right a few years ago. Started her career at Louisville, 1 year under Jeff Walls. And transferred to College Station. Large ball. 7-point game. The lead grew north of 10 here early in the half. Drummond to stretch it back to 10. An air ball. You mentioned that each end of this court is a completely different shooting visual. Carter. Jaldi Tabdi showing well here in the third quarter. The foul on Carter in the backcourt, her second.
And I like this Texas A&M pressure. Like I said, they've got length, but they're also speeding up Syracuse a little bit. And I don't mean in terms of the pace of play, but they have them rushing. That was a rushed three. As good as Drummond has been from the arc, probably not your best look. So we'll see if they keep this on and can force some quick shots that'll lead to runouts where they can get two at any moment with Carter.
Yeah, you can see Kim Fowles playing a large role here as well in the third quarter. The Orange in the bonus already. That's the fifth Aggie foul. Texas A&M's just one Orange foul shy of free throws. Shooter here, Kiara Lewis. Talked about her. She, like Sierra Johnson for the Aggies, a transfer. Miranda Drummond going to the bench was a transfer from St. Bonaventure, who now in her senior year, and Lewis was a top 25 recruit. So this is different for Syracuse this year with Lewis backing up Tiana Mungakahi.
Right, and it takes some time. When you've been out for a year, even if you're practicing every day, you're not getting those game reps. So it's going to take a little time for these transfers to get back in the swing of things, but really liking what I'm seeing out of Kiara Lewis so far.
Lewis with the active defense there, nearly forcing a turnover. She allowing Mungakahi to catch a breather here, and perhaps we'll see both on the court together late on. Engstler the rebound. She's not afraid to push it herself. Here comes the freshman out of NYC. Jaldi Tabdi, and the two freshmen connect on the coast-to-coast play.
Woo, Engstler looking like a point guard in her own right there. Completely collected, bringing it up the floor. Beautiful dish to her freshman teammate.
She can do it all. Contact, no whistle. Now Lewis. And finishes.
She is going to be a huge weapon just because of her ability to break down a defender one-on-one. She's gotten to the rim at will tonight.
That is something the Orange did not have last year at the backup point guard spot. Cooper forced the turnover, but the Orange give it right back. Early in the year, but you'd think for Syracuse that should keep Mungakahi a fresher in February and into March of the season.
Right, and that's why it's so big, easy lay in there for A&M. So big with their rotations. They don't have players playing more than about 20, 25 minutes a night, and that's when it pays off in March. When some teams have had players playing 35 minutes a night, you have those fresh legs.
And Coach Q said Lewis and Mungakahi can play together. Tiana in that scenario would be the point guard, and Lewis would play off ball. Did not hit the jumper there. Then the arrow favors Texas A&M. Well, the Orange had the early run of the half. Texas A&M fired back, and Syracuse has stretched the lead back to 13. How about Emily Engstler, coast to coast to Jaldi Tabdi. And the Orange on the run out again with Kiara Lewis. The scoreboard tells the tale, a close game after the first and second quarters, and a Tiana Mungakahi led third quarter here, Kim.
And Syracuse came out on fire. She's the reason why. The energy she brings, knocked down the three. How about this drive? She's not big by any means in there, but she plays like she's about 6'2", does everything on the floor. That time getting the O board, laying it back in, has been an instrumental part of this third quarter run from the Orange.
She leads all scorers, and that includes her counterpoint in Kennedy Carter with 17 points right now. 8 of those have come in this third, where Syracuse has opened a now 11-point lead. Kaylin Martin can't hit the jumper, and here's Sissoko. She's got speed. Now Cooper. What a pass by Engstler. Sissoko fouled on the putback.
How about Sissoko? Something about these French freshmen coming out fearless. Engstler again, wow. She's got some flashiness to her game. That's that New York City coming out. But so impressed by Sissoko at 6'2", similar to Engstler, just bringing the ball up like they're the point guard.
Well, those are the top 2 recruits in this stellar top 10 Orange class. Engstler number 9 and Sissoko number 11. Another young French lady on the Orange team out of Paris. It's 1 out of 2.
Got to get some croissants with all this talk about France. I'm getting hungry.
That sounds good.
Some baguettes.
And Sissoko a little aggressive there on the foul. Q not pleased with the call himself. He's not afraid to chat up the refs. He'll bridge the language barrier. And we talked about the fouls. Both teams in the bonus now.
Again, just those frames from Coach. The last time I saw him, he had some, like a leopard print. I like the all-black look he's got tonight.
I'd say they all match the outfit.
Very smooth.
Whatever he's got cooking. Shambria Washington at the line.
And he's got a nice ring there as well.
I believe that's the Final Four ring from 2016. See, Gary Blair's got him one up there. He took it all the way in 2011 with these Aggies. Washington, it's a pair. Got to show off the bling in a big game like this. Both have brought it out. The two good friends. Here's Mungakahia. Daldi Tabdi hits the deck hard. Tripped up.
Daldi Tabdi just so active. She set a screen up on the wing and then rolled down. And as we mentioned earlier, she's very good at establishing position in the post, getting the defender on her back. Once you catch it that low, you're likely laying it up for 2 or getting fouled.
And you see that nimble footwork. Oh, the free throw no good. That foul was the 3rd on Kennedy Carter. See if that bears tracking as we head toward the 4th quarter.
And that could be problematic for A&M this season as we talk about their inexperience, their youth. If she goes to the bench, that puts a lot of pressure on her teammates, unlike Syracuse, who are a lot deeper than they've been and have multiple options coming off the bench.
Wilson would be one of those other options, but it is a Kennedy Carter-led show. Wilson, now Washington. Mungakahia gave way and snags the rebound. Pushing pace for Young. A long 3. He rattles around and drops. Isis Young.
Drains it, and again, Mungakahia always has her head up, saw both sides of the floor, went with that option. She knows she can knock it down. Great decision.
Engstler the block. Stays with Washington. Carter from way outside. That was NBA plus. Mungakahia. Engstler. And Sissoko was blocked by Carter, and that was a dangerous play from Kennedy. How about Isis Young stepping behind all the three-point lines?
Oh yeah, she went full on NBA for that one. She's hoping there's a G League scout in here, or NBA scout.
That was deep in the corner. These lines will be on the floor for the Orange men and company at MSG tomorrow. Sissoko can't finish. Mungakahia, the look away, and finish. She's got 10 after halftime.
And as impressive as that is offensively, that's a lapse defensively from Texas A&M. Just 4 players standing around the paint, not one stepping in to make her pass or draw a charge.
Getting a little ragged for the Aggies on offense. And Kennedy Carter on the bench right now with those fouls. Nearly picked up her fourth the last time down. Final minute, third quarter. It was a 1-point Aggie lead at the half. The Orange by 16. No for Wells. Here comes Mungakahia. Opted against the 1-on-3, but not for long. A rare thing that didn't go Tiana's way in the third.
She still doesn't look tired. She's going 1-on-5, beating everybody up the floor.
Well, we saw it. The Orange stretched the lead with her at the beginning of the quarter, without her in the middle of the quarter, and with her again at the end. It has been a stunning offensive quarter for Syracuse. Leah Wilson for three.
And that depth is what makes this team really tough to guard. When you're doing your scout, you have to key in on a lot of different players. And when these starters are subbing out, you've got to know your matchups because the players coming in are equally as talented now.
Shot clock off. Orange can hold for the final look. Mungakahia a three. And that completes a third quarter dominated by Syracuse and Tiana Mungakahia. It was Tiana Mungakahia getting the quarter started out hot for the Orange as she played the floor general. And Isis Young, one of the many to contribute here in the third. Syracuse by 13 after three. Three quarters complete in Westchester. The Orange dominate the third quarter and lead after 30 minutes, 60-47. Brian Higgins, Kim Adams, and the former all-time leading scorer for the Syracuse Orange, New York City's own Nicole Michael. Nicole, welcome.
Hi.
Good to see you. It's been a minute, so you've been busy overseas for quite a while hooping it up, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been overseas for about 7 years. I'm home this season, so it's great. I get to rest a little bit, rest my knees, taking a toll on me. So definitely just resting this season.
What's this like for you? You were here kind of at the beginning of Coach Q. Legitimately, you were his first big-time recruit and made the tournament back in 08 to kind of watch the success this team has had since you've been gone.
Oh, man, it's amazing to watch the progress each year. Syracuse has gotten better, and the players that has been coming in, man, amazing. All-Americans, top 25 players in the country. And it's exciting to see the players.
I say we just saw one from your neck of the woods there, and Emily Engschler, who's kind of the next big New York City recruit to follow in your footsteps.
Yeah, she looks really good right now. She's out there. She's really comfortable. And looks like she's playing multiple positions.
And Nicole, Syracuse really came out with another level of energy in this second half. What has impressed you about what they've done well to start this second half?
Man, they're just playing at a high intensity right now. Even the bench, they're really into the game, and they're really helping the players that's on the court as well. And it's really exciting to watch. Bit
of a loose horn there for some reason. I'm going to check something at the scorer's table right now. Phineas Brooks, an official scorer. John Almonte sorting things out today. But Nicole, we're talking about it. You sort of blazed the trail here, getting it started and playing overseas, and now you see a lot of former Syracuse players recruited by that guy that have kind of joined you in the pros. What's that like to watch you see, the Brianna Butlers and the Brittany Sykes, and we can go on and on, sort of following you up through these ranks?
Oh man, like I said, it's just really exciting just to see the progress, to see Brianna, Brittany, to see even Kayla, see them in the league. It's amazing. And the Syracuse players that are playing now for this season, I can see all 5 of them going to the WNBA. Like, it's amazing, man. The pros that are coming out of Syracuse.
And playing overseas can be a real grind. For people who aren't aware, what are the differences between playing at the college level, playing in a big-time conference, and then playing professionally overseas?
I think the difference is just having access to certain things. Playing overseas is a fundamental game, as opposed to playing in college is more talent, also fundamental, but you see a lot more athleticism in the college game. When you get overseas, it's a lot of fundamentals, and not having much access to certain things and really having to figure things out when you're overseas.
Just to catch up on what's going on here, Shea Real Whitsitt, number 12 for Texas A&M, just checked in the game. She was not in the official scorebook. It's an administrative technical foul that was spotted by the scorer's table, and Miranda Drummond The orange shooter will get 2 technical free throws here, so a bit of a mistake by the Aggies not to get Real Witsit in the book, and the orange take advantage for 2 freebies right there.
And Nicole, you're a New York City product. What is it like for this team to come to New York, which is such a traditional, storied basketball city?
Oh, it's really great. It gives me a chance to come see them play, being so close to home. And this is just a great arena for them to play in. I know the New York Liberty plays here during their season, and to have Syracuse on this court is amazing.
You certainly got to play your fair share in New York in your college days against St. John's and a little outside the city, Rutgers and Seton Hall. As Mungakahia hits another 22 now for Tiana, 13 after halftime. What do you think of her? You watch a point guard play like that, it's got to blow your mind.
Oh, she's excited. I try to catch every game on TV just to see her. Her passes are amazing. Like, she had me off my feet over there. She's amazing to watch, man. And is she only a junior?
She is only a junior.
Yeah, man, another year to watch her, and she's going to be great as a professional as well.
Yeah, it's crazy to think she came from a community college, a junior college, to have a player at that caliber playing at the junior college level and then coming in and leading the nation in assists at Division I the next year.
Yeah.
And a timeout here called as the Orange stretch the lead to 15. Nicole, great to catch up, and thanks so much.
Thank you. Great to see you.
The former all-time leading scorer for the Syracuse Orange, Nicole Michael. The current Orange up 15 in Westchester. Orange rolling after halftime, up 15 on Texas A&M. And if you want to catch the Orange in the Carrier Dome the rest of the way, season tickets remain available. If you're a football or men's basketball current season ticket holder, you can add the women's ticks to your package for just $50. If not, $75 will do the trip. Single game tickets, $10. Group rates starting as low as $2 a head. Get them online at Cuse.com or by calling 1-888-DOME-TIX. See that young lady? That's worth the price of admission. Tiana Mungakahia, what a night, Kim. She's been outstanding.
And it's not just the scoring. She's filling up this whole stat sheet. 7 rebounds, 4 assists to just 2 turnovers, a block, 2 steals. She is all over the place, both ends of the floor.
And that was the circled matchup in the first half. Maybe Kennedy Carter had the slight advantage. Travel on the Orange and Engsler. In the second half, it has been a TKO so far from Mungakahia.
Syracuse just came out with a renewed energy. They got that press going, ran up and down the floor, forced some turnovers, and this young, inexperienced A&M team hasn't been able to respond yet.
And with Carter on the bench right now, see the Orange not afraid at all to go to the press. Aggies beat it but could not score. Johnson, the second look, and a foul on the floor.
And that's tough because I was just thinking to myself, we haven't seen much of that high-low, which worked well for them against this zone. There they got a great look, but couldn't get the easy layup to fall twice.
It was Johnson who had the back-to-back buckets from the foul on the Orange freshman Engsler, who checks out. Cooper returning for Syracuse. Stratmana as well.
Stratmana, she's been quiet tonight.
Quiet start to the sophomore season for Stratmana, and featured well with various Latvian teams over the summer. Shaldi Tabdi has played on a variety of French national teams and snags the rebound and finds the player that's played on a lot of Aussie teams in Mungakahia. Back to Shaldi Tabdi, and there's the passing as the Orange lead by 17.
How about that, the pass and then the mobility of Shaldi Tabdi. Again, someone who's really been impressive tonight in the different things she can do at her size.
She's gotten a ton of minutes in the post after halftime. Her quickness and advantage. And still no Kennedy Carter back in the game. Just 3 fouls on the bench right now. Wilson starting to heat up from 3.
She's got a nice stroke. Just have to pick and choose where to shoot it. That time was a better look because they moved the ball around the perimeter a few times.
Wilson just passed Carter for the team high scoring honors for the Aggies with 17. Carter set to check back in. Shaldi Tabdi again inside the nimble feet and the finish.
Texas A&M is going to have to do a lot of work defending the post. Syracuse has been able to get the ball inside whenever they want. You have to get around whether you're fronting, getting a hand in front to deflect the pass. It's been so easy all night.
Jaldi Tavdi's first career double-figure game tonight, her third college game, 13 points. Stratwood with the foul. Linda picks up her seconds on the floor. Schlate to the spot, apparently.
It looked like pretty good positioning there. Bit of an awkward little collision. Could have gone either way.
We also saw Kennedy Carter has checked back in. Does she have some fourth quarter magic in her? She's had it many times before in her young career. Instead, Sierra Johnson the bucket.
That time she had a good time of using her body to create some space and get the look off.
Mugakahia again, and Coach Q pops off the bench for an immediate timeout and like the looks of something, and immediately into organizational mode here with a 14-point lead.
You gotta love that. Consistently coaching his team. It looks like this one should be in hand, but he's not pleased about something, and he wants to make sure they're gonna be sharp for if they're in a tighter game moving forward.
How about this upcoming schedule, Kim? Bucknell is the preseason favorite in the Patriot League. Kansas State was a 20-game winner last year. Princeton always one of the best in the Ivy League. And then you got two ranked teams in DePaul, a game in Cancun, and the road trip for the ACC Big Ten Challenge to Minnesota.
No days off for the Orange, but hey, if I'm playing, I'd rather be playing against quality teams night in and night out than winning by 40. Of course, you always want maybe one or two of those, just get the juices flowing, but these are the type of games, whether a win or a loss, that are gonna pay off when it's the tournament, when it's NCAA, ACC tournament, when you're going against the top teams before you even get into conference play.
Yeah, we've seen it. It's so important in women's college basketball to be one of the top 16 teams so you can host first-round games. The only time Syracuse has done that corresponded with their trip to the Final Four, which is not exactly an accident.
And it's so important also to get a high seed because of how much more parity there is becoming in women's basketball. You want to try and lock up a top 2, 3, 4 seed, because after that you could be in a battle with anybody in that first round.
And a three, no. Mugakahi another rebound. The Aggies locked up one of those seeds last year. The play we showed you earlier of Kennedy Carter, the exciting game winner against DePaul, was on their home court because they were the 4 seed.
Yeah, that was a tough loss for Coach Doug Bruno and other women's basketball legends.
Another fantastic finish from Mugakahi, who's got 24 down. She has been the best player on the court tonight.
And it just seems so easy for her. Again, will she face some more disciplined defenses? I think so, but she's skilled enough where when there are players flying out at her, I'm confident that she's going to be able to make the right plays. Tonight, she has just been walking her way to the rim.
If the Aggies are going to get a run going, it's got to start soon. Mugakahi trying to put it away. Jaldi Tavdi's been outstanding as well and fouled on the catch by Martin. That's kind of been one of the differences of the second half. Sienna Mugakahi has been great, but Jaldi Tavdi and the work she's done inside for Coach Q has been outstanding.
Right, so impressed. Again, looking at her, looking at Sissoko, they don't seem like freshmen. They are so confident out there, and they're so skilled. They must be teaching them well over in France.
There's a skilled sophomore in Strautmana, but the finish not there. Kennedy Carter drives, foul. Third on Mugakahi. And Carter's kind of got to force the issue now.
Here comes Carter. May have extended that elbow a touch, but again, those two guards, both fearless.
It's one of those either way calls.
Absolutely. And Brian, today we talked to Coach Blair. I think a big word I asked him about, and one that he already had in mind, was patience. He's never taken on a team like this where he has so little experience, so little leadership. It's going to take some time for this group of players to develop. I think where we're seeing the biggest need for improvement is on the defensive end tonight.
That's both patience within a game, and I think he was also referring to over the course of this long season.
Absolutely. He talked about them not being able to be comfortable in all situations at this point, but his hope is that by March, when they're seeing different game situations, being up, being down, being against a run, to know how to handle that. And tonight their youth is showing, and they're going to have some work to do, plain and simple.
The charge drawn. This time call goes the other way in favor of Mungakahia, and that is the 4th on Kennedy Carter.
Here comes that little trap. Mungakahia, great job of getting her foot right on the sideline. That's what you want to do when you trap, so that the player has nowhere to go but right through you for that charge.
They'll leave Kennedy Carter in the game. You can't take her out now, even with the 4. Aggies down 16. A steal now by Carter, flying up the court. What a finish at the rim.
Woo. She got up the floor in about 3 seconds. It hasn't always gotten her way tonight, but that shows the plays she's capable of making.
I think she ran up the court faster than my neck was capable of turning to watch her. That was...
Yeah, I don't know if our cameras got that one.
That was
we had a
great
multiple
speed.
angle.
But at the same time, just her first field goal after halftime. Stratmana. And a bump on the rebound. Little tangle, and Stratmana spotted for the foul. 3rd on the Latvian. And that will be... That is the 4th foul, not the 5th. Officials were confirmed, so 1 shy of shots. Everyone had gone to the other end of the court. They'll have to get back for the inbounding process. Bit of a miscommunication.
Is that a new look, that shortened tie?
Oh, that's going back to the classics. That is the original
Bringing it back,
look
I
with
guess.
the short tie.
His team is playing like this. He can wear any tie he wants.
Yeah, short, long, whatever you want. He had a bow tie thing for a while. That was interesting. Here's Cooper. 14-point game, and that's just another turnover when the Aggies couldn't afford it. And even without the press, they've turned it over a lot in the half court tonight.
The Aggies look a little tired to me as well, which is leading to some of those lazy turnovers.
Yeah, the Orange have gone a full 10 deep tonight. Subbing liberally early, and riding this group late. Mungakahia pocket picked by Carter. I'm surprised to see her miss in that situation. Orange trying to avoid the turnover, and a collision as Mungakahia flung it ahead. And the foul on Cooper. Leader Al Whitsitt to the free throw line.
That was impressive balance by Mungakahia.
That was a ballerina
Tiptoe
move
that
over there.
line.
The pirouette.
Just doing it all out there.
Foul on Cooper, and that is officially the 5th, so free throws here for Shea Real Whitsitt, who we saw the administrative technical. It's not on her, but her number was out in the scorebook earlier, which gave the Orange a couple of freebie points in the middle of their 3rd quarter run. Whitsitt, a junior college transfer out of Miami-Dade. A lot of transfers into this program. We talked about transfers out of the program, and Danny Williams and Anriel Howard, both grad transfers leaving the starting 5, and Gary Blair went out and found some people to fill those minutes this year.
All right, I think that is becoming a big trend in both men's and women's college basketball. I don't know if it's necessarily the best thing, but coaches are having to adjust with the amount of players who are leaving.
Aggies' upcoming schedule. We'll head to Little Rock next, and another Arkansas team to follow. Lamar, Houston, and then Central Arkansas. See Gary Blair. He used to coach at Arkansas. He currently coaches in Texas. You can put 2 and 2 together on the next 5 upcoming for the Aggies. And these 2 teams play in, realistically, the 2 toughest conferences in women's college basketball when you look at the SEC and the ACC. So January and February will be no easy run for these 2. Gary Blair will have to deal with the likes of Mississippi State, and South Carolina, Tennessee, etc.
That is pretty tough going into the trenches night in and night out, either of these conferences.
Orange turn it over. Carter gets it back. No finish from Washington. Another offensive rebound. Carter denied on the drive by Cooper. Is there time to come back from 12? Carter somehow does not get the roll. Unusual to see for Kennedy Carter. And a 3 ball instead for Kayla Wells. suddenly a 9-point game. Mangakahia in trouble, but bailed out with a foul. Pounding the floor in frustration.
A&M, that's a situation where you don't want to reach. You have a player trapped with 3 of you. Just get her caught, get your hands up, try to steal that next pass. Mangakahia fired up about it, though.
Subs out, presumably briefly. Kiara Lewis in. You wonder if both will be on the court with 2 ball handlers shortly. There is Lewis, the Ohio State transfer. Tight window on the sideline. She turns it over. Aggies making a run. Washington cannot finish. Another golden opportunity missed. Another turnover. Walton and 1.
Man, I feel like we're at the playground right now. Out of nowhere, we're just going up and down. The ball's flying everywhere. Syracuse throws it away. Beautiful baseball pass. The Aggies are looking to get right back in this thing with 2 minutes to go.
Coach Q calling a timeout as Jada Walton has cut it to 7. Fired up on the Aggie bench. This was an 18-point game at one point.
The press, I would have liked to see this a little bit sooner with the energy it's bringing, the turnovers it's creating. But hey, they're right back in this game. 2 minutes is a lot of time. We'll see if Mangakahia comes back in to settle things down.
7-point game right now. We told you what these teams have coming up. Look at the SEC, Mississippi State, back-to-back years in the national title game. South Carolina won it all 2 years ago. This is quite a list.
You got some storied programs, and then teams like Mississippi State, South Carolina, who in the last few years have really emerged and expanded that landscape of women's basketball from just UConn and Tennessee. There are so many elite teams now.
It was SEC versus ACC in the national title game last year, and Enrique Ngumbawale stole it from Mississippi State in the final seconds with a phenomenal game. Big free throw here for Jada Walton. Way off, big rebound. Strout with her. Still a 3-possession game. Mangakahia and Lewis both in. Orange getting loose with the ball. Another turnover. Washington. And a travel. Texas A&M is forcing turnovers with the press, but giving it right back. That was Aaliyah Wilson.
Right, they're getting the turnover, but then they're incredibly frazzled. Once you get the ball in your possession, you got to take a quick breath and make the good pass, make the good shot. They want to get right back in this game.
Orange get another guard, and Gabby Cooper back on the court. Also checking back in was Kennedy Carter, who was out briefly. Mangakahia waning minutes, Orange up 7. They were up 6 at this stage against Oregon on Saturday and lost by 2. Here's Cooper. Trapped. Another turnover. Arrow or timeout. Either way, Aggies ball.
And all of these traps, Cooper trying to step around. A&M is making it really difficult right now with these traps. Syracuse is definitely getting hurried and rushed. When the traps are coming at you, you got to square up first, not get sped up. Maybe you pass over the top, maybe you pass back, depending on where you are on the floor. But right now, you know, we talked about A&M being youthful and experienced. Well, Syracuse is too, and we're seeing that as well.
Apparently they called a foul in there, and Real Whitsitt will shoot 2 here. It's the first. It's a 2-possession game now. Plenty of time with $1:34 left. This game looked done a minute ago.
Absolutely. Syracuse, they need to look to get that first pass in. They're going to draw 2 defenders and then maybe pass it over the top.
Lane violation on the Aggies. Wow.
I was right.
Calamity of errors on both squads in the last minute, but the Aggies getting back into it by speeding up the game. This press has wreaked havoc. Mangakahia in trouble. And bailed out by a Coach Q called timeout. This is kind of shocking, Kim, to see the Orange struggle against the press.
Right, Syracuse, they had a similar game just a few nights ago out at number 3, Oregon. They were up 6 with a few minutes to go. Here they go, they're up 67-61. Oregon would go on to knock down 3 straight threes, to which Syracuse could never fully recover. So this is a team that has shown they can struggle a bit down the stretch.
That was the Notre Dame transfer, Aaron Boley, who hit essentially the game-winning 3 after that lady, Sabrina Nescu, hit the 2 threes before it. She was probably the best player in the country right now. And that was a game the Orange rallied back, a 10-0 run to go up 6, and then a 9-0 run gave the lead away.
Right, that's just, and Coach Q, talking to him before the game, said Oregon did hit some really tough shots. They were flying out, they were contested, but that's what elite teams do. Elite players, they're going to knock down those shots, but that's a sign that this Syracuse team still has some growth as they go for the baseball pass here.
Great catch by Drummond, and finally the Orange get across midcourt. Let's see how the Aggies handle it on defense. They trap Mungakahia. Nearly threw it away. Drummond and fouled. And it's just the Aggies' 4th foul.
And while they're not in the bonus, that's a painful foul because you had the shot clock down to about 12 seconds and they were frazzled. It looked like they were getting ready to throw it away again. Now you give them a fresh 30 and allow them to get back into their set.
See if the Orange can kill some clock here. Mungakahia in the backcourt. This has been an adventure. Lewis, Jaldi Tomdi, and no good. Big rebound for Gabrielle Cooper. Mungakahia with a timeout. The Orange final timeout comes with 55 seconds to go, clinging to a 6-point lead.
Coach Q looks exasperated right now. He thought they had it in the bag, a nice bus ride back up to upstate New York. Now he's sweating. He is not happy with how his team is responding to the pressure.
Q's good at exasperation. We'll see him try to get it diagrammed here.
He's telling somebody to go somewhere. I don't know if they're listening to him, but if I'm a coach, I'm not liking how my Syracuse players are responding to this pressure. They're not calming down and making the good passes.
I'll tell you how big of a game this is because of the road both these teams have in front of them. The Orange will face 2 top 5 teams in league down the stretch, including the defending national champs, and a big Monday inside the Carrier Dome. First ever one of those for women's hoops in the Dome. That makes this game even bigger, Kim, when you look at it. We saw the Oregon game. Is that in the heads right now? Are you thinking about that, how it slipped away just a few days ago?
No, I think that you got to have a short-term memory in basketball, whether good or bad. So that game, hopefully they learn from it in the days leading up. But right now you've got to be locked in this exact moment and just savoring this possession here, getting a good look, drawing a foul, but certainly not turning it over.
And the Orange, at one point in the second half, led this game by 18 points, down to 6. It is Orange ball. The possession arrow, should we need it, favors Texas A&M. The Aggies have 2 timeouts remaining. The Orange just spent their final one.
Syracuse has to get the ball towards their basket. With the length of A&M, if they tip it back, it could be a layup at the other end.
Just inbounding the ball has been tricky, and now a foul. Walton entangled with Lewis. And that's the bonus. Kiara Lewis will shoot.
And we've seen A&M really dial up this defensive pressure. If they had put this sort of intensity in a little bit earlier, they may be in a little bit of a different boat right now. But again, youth, they're going to learn from this no matter how this one shakes out to show just how scary they can be on the defensive end.
A big first for Lewis. No. The Aggies not really a pressing team. It was desperation, but it's working.
It certainly is, and maybe you change your mindset. It's, Coach Blair's just getting used to this group. You're finding out their strengths, their weaknesses.
0 for 2 at the line. Huge possession here in a 6-point game. A 3 to cut it in half. No good for Aaliyah Wilson, and the Orange, the big rebound. Ogakahia, Carter not wanting to foul, and they finally called it. Looks like Carter, that will be her 5th, and Kennedy Carter fouls out. You could tell she didn't want to do it, but she had to.
A&M got a good look at the other end on that 3, but a huge rebound by Gabrielle Cooper, and a good job of getting that ball up the floor right away to avoid those pesky traps that they've been having trouble with.
And stunningly, Carter, who had 16 at halftime, finishes shy of 20 points tonight. 18 points, ending what had been a 7-game streak of scoring 20 or more. Would not have guessed that at halftime.
All right, well, Syracuse did a great job just packing in that zone, and Carter was trying to get in, but every time she attacked, people were stepping up, and she was forcing up some tough shots. So this Syracuse zone, when all 5 players are working as a unit, is going to be tough to go up against.
Always want a point guard that can close it at the line. 26 for Ogakahia. Timeout, Aggies. Chance to advance the ball here. Gary Blair said he loves this rule. It's now the 4th season of the timeout, being able to advance the ball late. He just likes it. He gets to coach more now.
Yeah, I mean, he's been coaching for this long. He said he's one of the oldest left in the game. I think him and Boeheim.
Jim Boeheim,
He
whose
said
74th birthday comes on Saturday, and Gary Blair is 73. We'll be back with you with women's basketball coming up again this Sunday. The Orange next up against Bucknell in the Dome. Favorite of the Patriot League, tip time 2 o'clock. Got Syracuse women's basketball all season long right here on ACC Network Extra. Looking forward to that one on Sunday in the Carrier Dome. Here we are, 8-point game. It feels like maybe that last chance to slip past the Aggies. They had some big looks here in the last minute.
And they're going to need a quick score here. 3-possession game. I would just go for a quick 2, because you're going to need a 2 at some point regardless. So they got to get a quick hitter here going right to the rim.
Wilson instead back near midcourt. Again, no Kennedy Carter. She'd be the go-to, but is fouled out. Washington can't finish. A rebound, Jaldi Tabdi. And fouled. And the Orange defense comes up big when needed. So Jaldi Tabdi will head down the court to shoot the free throws, with the Orange back up by 8.
And Brian, I think what's pretty scary about this Syracuse team is the amount of weapons they've displayed tonight. Some of their leading scorers have been very quiet. Cooper, Finkley, Strautmana. It's been the reserves coming in who have made some big plays. This is going to be a very tough team to defend.
Jaldi Tabdi off the bench tonight with 15, a career high. And the lead is back to 10 with 20 seconds to go, and the Orange appear to have survived this furious Aggie comeback. Wilson. And now Washington. And the final rebound should do it in a 10-point game with 6 seconds left.
This is a good measuring stick for A&M. We saw that upcoming schedule, not any other top 25 teams coming up. So they're going to take a hard look at this tape and figure out what they need to work on moving forward.
Fitting that the game ends with the ball in the arms of Tiana Ogakahia. A handshake between the good friends Gary Blair and Quentin Hillsman, and Syracuse has pulled it out in Westchester by 10, 75-65, thanks to 26 from Tiana Ogakahia. And just a reminder, our next Syracuse Orange women's basketball broadcast comes this Sunday. The Orange and Bucknell in the Carrier Dome, tip time 2 o'clock. For Kim Adams, I'm Brian Higgins. So long from Westchester. The final score again, the Orange 75, Texas A&M 65. To watch this game on replay as well as other games in our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com.